Tomorrow's Friday and I need to put in my entry for my biggest zucchini. G'day there, I'm Dana from Piwakaka Valley Homestead. Part of Shed Wars competition is how big of a zucchini you can grow. So I have one in my garden, which I also have my trusty scales here, and I am going to weigh it. But first I'm going to give you a quick tour of what my garden is up to and where we're at. Now today, one of my very good friends came out and very kindly helped me weed some of the herb garden. So between wrangling children, we managed to get quite a bit done, and I'm really stoked at how it's turned out. We've managed to pull all of these weeds out of here. And on this side, and she even replanted my pineapple sage over in the back. And this is only a very small portion of the giant pile of weeds. It actually looked a lot more like this. So we have pulled out a lot of weeds today. Now before we get on to the zucchini, I want to show you my other squash because they're growing really well too, which I'm very excited about. I've never really managed to grow pumpkins particularly well, but obviously they're quite enjoying the large amount of manure that I've got in their beds, and they're doing really well. My next lot of potatoes have yet to rear their little heads, however I believe they're growing under there, and some of the straw has decided to sprout as well. The New Zealand yam, also known as oca, they're still struggling along. They're arguing with the blackbirds a lot. I wish the blackbirds would just go away, actually. Now these onions, one thing I've discovered is I did two different types of onion, two different varieties, and this half are doing incredibly well, and the ones from half that way, not so well. Unfortunately, I can't remember which variety was which, but these ones are the ones I want to grow again next year. So I'm really hoping I've written it in the book which ones I put at which end, because these are significantly better and there's significantly more here than at the other side. Here you can see all my corn are all starting to flower, which is very exciting. They flower up here and they drop their pollen down, and that's where the corn will form. Oh, now here's a tip. When you get an onion like this that someone has kindly pulled out, you can stick it back in the ground and it will continue to grow. That was the silly blackbirds have dug that out. I've just washed my hands. Down here amongst the thistles that are kindly growing, there's some of my squash have started. This is a squash called kumi kumi, which you can eat while it's small like this, very similar to a zucchini, and then they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and they eventually develop a hard yellow shell, believe it or not, and then you can store them over winter. And if we come down along here, there's all sorts of little ones growing in amongst the wilderness. And these little tomato plants that I got as freebies are starting to flower. Now this is a variety, I'm pretty sure it's the Atlantic Giant, and it grows yellow ones. And we're going to try and do some pumpkin carving with the kids. So we've got that one, and we've got this one here, which has got massive leaves on it and a few little baby pumpkins hiding in there. Dang it, don't you hate it when the card gets full? This is the one I'm really excited about. These here are getting quite massive. They are a hulless seed pumpkin that you can eat the seeds from. So the flesh of it will probably honestly end up to the pigs because they're not the most delicious. But look, there's heaps of them. I'm really excited because it's a pumpkin and I grew it. So let's go and see if we can find the zucchini. Right, now we're in the main vegetable garden, and I will give you a little bit of a tour of what's going on in here. My celery are starting to get ready to eat. We have harvested a few sticks of it. Did you know instead of harvesting the entire bunch, you can actually just harvest from the outside? We did that last winter. And one stand of celery like that lasted us all winter. It just kind of kept regenerating, which was really good. In this tiny tunnel house, everything has finally started growing. And the kumara vines, the sweet potato vines, are taking over, as they should. And the peppers are doing really well as well. I've just had this open because it's been really, really hot today. Finally. This is my netted off area for my cauliflowers. And through here, my outside tomatoes are doing well. They're starting to flower, starting to get nice and big. We're harvesting heaps and heaps off these peas, which is delicious. These red onions are starting to bulb up too, which is good times. And over here are the zucchini. Now somewhere in one of these, I have a very large one hiding. But I can't remember which one it is. Oh, there it is. I'll be completely honest with you, I wasn't going to enter this because I don't actually like zucchinis this large. I prefer them to be smaller. I find these ones watery and not particularly delicious. However, I discovered this one in the garden this morning when I was out picking the others, and obviously I've missed it for a few days. And it's huge, so we're going to find out how heavy it is. I need to find somewhere flat that I can put my scales. Now these carrots here are going great guns. We've actually started harvesting some of them. And the little broccolis along beside them, they're coming along. I've had to sprinkle some slug bait around. Unfortunately, I lost about half of them to the slugs. Got a few more down here. And these carrots in here have finally come up quite nicely. I'm going to have to pull that netting up shortly, which does risk the blackbirds getting in on them. So I'm delaying it as long as I can. These cabbages are finally starting to heart up. Look at this one. It's almost edible. This one on the other hand I think is just going to go straight to flowers. It's got flowers in there already. This is a purple sprouting broccoli, I believe. So hopefully it will send some sprouty broccoli bits shortly. And we've got one lonely little kale. My potatoes are starting to die back a little bit, I think, so it won't be too long before I harvest these. And things are going well in the tunnel house, except for the fact that these are not the tomatoes I thought they were. They're all labelled Roma and they're not. They're mortgage lifters. You can tell by the shape of them, they look like massive big pumpkin shaped things. This one's getting a bit much water. I think it's dying out. It'll be a tangella, I presume. They don't seem to do very well in here. And my peppers have all got little baby peppers on them, which is very exciting. This one here has got some nice big green fellas. I'm very excited about that. And yeah, my tomatoes are doing well. And it's very hot in here, so I'm going to get out. I've set my scales down somewhere flat. Oops. I've got 1 pound, 6 1/4 ounces, or 632 grams. So I'm going to have to go back and see what my competition is. So just a quick video today. If you're not sure what Shed Wars is, it's a gardening competition. Hit the hashtag down below SHEDWARS21 and it will take you to a list of all the other people that are participating in the competition. We're all just trying to grow as much food as we can for our family. Hope you found this video helpful or at least interesting. If you have, hit the like button and I'll see you in the next one.